We're at the Crypto Valley Summit, which is kicking off today at the Palace Hotel, and people are coming from all over the world. Brock, good afternoon, welcome to the island.
Good afternoon, thank you for having me.
Now, we have to do the trivia part now, excuse me straight away. You might remember him from such classics as...
I grew up as an actor, and my first film was a movie called Mighty Ducks, a hockey movie, and I guess I'm probably best known for a film called First Kid, where I played the son of the president, and Sinbad was my Secret Service agent, but I grew up making, 15, 16 movies as a kid.
Because you lived in Los Angeles, or do you want to be an actor? What was it?
Well, I started out as an actor. My first memory in life takes place on a set at the age of 3 in the city I grew up in, which is Minneapolis, Minnesota. And as a child, some of these big sort of American brands were there: Target, Sears, Kellogg's, General Mills. And as a child, they would only hire local sort of actors, so I was kind of like an underwear model for Fruit of the Loom at Target at like 6 or something like that. But so I ended up growing up doing all this sort of print and commercial work, and then Mighty Ducks came to town, and I was one of the only kids that grew up playing hockey that had any acting experience. If I didn't book a role in the film, it probably would have been time to throw in the towel, and that led to me eventually moving to LA and doing a bunch more movies, and then somehow I ended up starting internet companies.
Right, and this big thing about these, I call it Bitcoin, but we use that as a terminology, but that's what people understand. It's huge, it's getting bigger. This conference today, how important is it?
Well, I think it's incredibly important, largely because of the sort of what the Isle of Man has done from a sort of government perspective in recognizing that this is an industry that's growing rapidly, and it has enormous potential, that hundreds of millions of dollars of venture capital are flowing into the industry this year alone, which puts us on par with sort of 1996 internet, and it's got the potential to become massive. And I think the Isle of Man has been very, very wise and smart in recognizing this trend and trying to entice companies to locate here so that they can participate in some of the action.
Right. I mean, today you're getting people from all around the world to meet up. It's to do that, is it to talk to people, to meet and exchange ideas and put some feet down here on the island?
Well, we've already done that. In the case GoCoin, which is a company I started with Steve Beauregard, is a payment processor for digital currencies like Bitcoin. And we've set up shop here, and we're hoping to work with all of the e-gaming companies in the region as an additional payment method to help them pay lower fees. In the case of Bitcoin, you can't have chargebacks or fraud, so that's probably a pretty positive thing for most. So lower fees, no fraud or chargebacks, and hopefully allow them to get access to a bunch of customers they might not be able to have otherwise.
Yeah, in the public perception still, this is all too new, and there's been all these horror stories about things going wrong, fraud, whatever. Yeah. What can you say to that? I mean,
well, yeah, there's the underlying technology itself is, like Mark Andreessen says, this is a more significant invention than the internet, and it's going to have a bigger impact on the world around us than that. And this is when you get beyond digital currency and we talk about blockchain technology, the underlying protocol that supports it. So it's fascinating once you start digging in. And I recommend to anybody that doesn't understand it yet or is even skeptical of it, when guys like Mark Andreessen, who you could argue is one of the real founders of the internet in terms of the impact he had in creating Netscape and all of the other businesses that he built in sort of the Internet 1.0. When people like this are making that type of statement, it's probably worth spending an hour to try and understand why. And so the underlying technology is incredible. And the things around fraud and things of that nature have nothing to do with the underlying architecture. It's been a new industry and a little bit like the Wild West in that regard. And so you have a lot of businesses that have been springing up to try and to be built on top of that technology platform. And in this case, some of those people have made mistakes, whether it be incompetence or in some cases fraud as well. You're always going to have some bad actors in emerging industries. And
you say like the internet, I mean, there was that massive bubble in that, wasn't it? And it all went a bit pear-shaped for a long time. This could go that way. People get too excited. People plow too much money into it. Is this why it needs some sort of regulation?
Well, I mean, any industry is going to go through its ebbs and flows, and I remember I was an internet entrepreneur in the late 90s in the sort of Web 1.0 period, and we went way up and way down. You couldn't even have a conversation. I mean, all the smartest investors in the world, the biggest sort of banks and the markets in general, said the internet's dead. This thing, that thing died. It's not, it's kind of over. The fundamentals clearly have spoken. We've seen otherwise, and I think the internet has probably affected all of our lives in a pretty substantial way. Could Bitcoin find itself in a similar cycle? Certainly, anything's possible. And if anyone knows the future, I'd love to talk to them because I'm sure I can find a way to trade on it.
So, are you rich?
I've been lucky, and I've won some and lost some, and we'll see how this one goes. I've invested in Cryptocurrency Partners, which is my investment vehicle with a few other people. We've made 25 investments in the space this year. I've started a bunch of companies in the space, and so we'll see how this goes. I've certainly made a large bet on this sector, and I'm hopeful that it's going to have a big impact. And timing is everything. Back to the sort of Internet 1.0 period. If you had invested heavily in 1999 and 2000, it probably didn't work out for you. So hopefully my timing is right.
And it is about timing. And the Isle of Man, with the e-gaming, for instance, you're obviously well aware of how the Isle of Man has become quite a base for all that. Do you see a rosy future for this sort of industry here in the island?
I do, specifically for that reason. One of the things that Bitcoin or blockchain technology does well is it's probably the best payment system the world has ever seen. When you look at things like credit cards, these were technologies developed in the 1950s. They were not developed to utilize the systems that are now available to us, and there's certainly no better payment system that I've ever seen. And like all alternative or emerging payment systems, they often get their start in industries that have historically struggled around payments, and e-gaming has been one of those. So I think that the e-gaming industry stands to benefit a great deal from this payment method, and I think this industry, Bitcoin and blockchain or cryptocurrencies in general, stands to benefit a great deal from the e-gaming industry. So that's why I'm here.
I know, but I mean, the Isle of Man today, or could it be somewhere else tomorrow? I mean, do you feel there is something particular about the Isle of Man, or it could be anywhere?
Well, I like all things, first mover advantages are worth a lot, and the Isle of Man has made it a big first step, which has caused a couple hundred of us to be here today.
The big movers and shakers, are you impressed with the guest list?
Yeah, this is for most of us never having been here before. I think the decisions that have been made here have certainly brought a lot of us together, and we're very bullish, and I'm here to support everything happening. I'm a huge fan of the Isle of Man at this point, and hopefully I'm back many more times.